Okay, so we're live. This is the first edition of Sorcery Self-Defense Lives. Let me go ahead and share this a few places. Just get some people over here so we can get started. Share that on Facebook as well. Just going to share a few more places real quick on Facebook. And then we'll start talking a little bit here. Just a moment. Let's see. What else haven't we done? Take me just a few more moments here. Okay, we're gonna figure out a way to set that up beforehand from now on. I feel like I should probably do it a few more places. Okay, so let's see. Where are we here? Okay, so this is the first of the Sorcery Self-Defense playlists. Where did the chat box go? What? I don't know what you're asking for there, Katian devotee. I'm not someone who punishes people. I think we're gonna, yeah. We're gonna go ahead and give you a timeout. Okay, so as I said, this is the first of the Sorcery Self-Defense lives. There's going to be a question and answer portion of this. Give me just a moment to sort myself, I suppose. Okay, so this one is going to be primarily on belly fire. If you've been watching my recent videos, we've been talking about opening yourself up and seeing past your eyes. That becomes part of the process with the belly fire as we work forward. So we're going to talk a little bit about the belly fire, how to summon belly fire, and then how that interacts with, there's another one. All right, we're going to, something's weird there. Punish me with Goddess Lilith. Right. We're getting some kind of bots. We'll fix more of that later. Okay. So, as I was saying, the belly fire is the primary energy that we're going to be talking about working with today. A little fuzzy there, but you can see me well enough, I suppose. Belly fire, of course. Hi, Felix. Belly fire starts at the belly. This is an energy that is consuming, and it starts literally with the consumption, the fire created by the acid breaking apart the stuff in your stomach, the food that you have eaten. there is the consumption, burning, churning, hunger of the belly fire. And that's where this starts. Imagine that hunger rising in the belly. Getting a whole bunch of these weird spots. I'm not quite sure how to get rid of them all just yet. Okay. Gonna have to find out how to make a. Actually, let's see if we can do that. Community moderation. Participants. Okay, now how do I get rid of these people that are being a problem? No, definitely don't add them as a moderator. Oh, where did Felix's message go? I'm going to try and make you a moderator, Felix. No, I don't want to put Felix in timeout. Go to channel. No. What in the world? Add as moderator. Okay. Now. Okay. So, where were we? Belly fire, which starts at the belly. You want to allow that hunger to go in, burst forth. Energy pictures right at the belly. This isn't a chakra, at least not in the modern idea of that. Okay, this is beyond that. This is primal. This is that hunger. It does not start at a chakra. It starts at the belly as flames. You allow them flames to rise up. And then as they are rising, we want to put our hands forward and go into our hands, the same as we've been doing to the picture. Allow those to combine, rise up, forward, and then come down as marionettes, as strings. Go up, go down, go up, rise to the crown chakra, and then shoot up to yourself. This will usually be visualized as your personal sigil. Rise up, burst through yourself to your higher self, and then allow the strings to come back down. And that is where we start. You're on strings. Okay. From there, each one of these movements that I'm making should be seen not as originating in the body, but as pulled on a string. We rise up there from the belly fire. I'm not going to talk a lot about what motions you should make at this point. Simply imagining the strings lifting. It's important that this goes through all of you, not just your arms, but you allow everything to become loose on strings. It's like another way to picture how you should feel in this moment is those little dancing L's. Those haven't been around in a long time. You push the top of them and there's little strings in there. When you push it, they become loose, and then you let go, and then you pull it, and the strings all tight, and it tightens back up, and you can push it in and out to make the thing dance. That's kind of the type of feeling we're looking for here, but you really want to have those strings. To visualize them strings coming back down into the body, moving the body, and reattaching to that belly fire. And the point of this, first off, is to guide yourself from a higher perspective. Like I said, with this technique, we are eventually going to talk about how to be using frenzy gnosis. But once you achieve frenzy gnosis, if you don't have an objective perspective on wielding yourself from that point, you're not really in control. You need to be able to push forward and guide that aspect of the self once you have invoked it. And so that is why, as soon as the belly fire rises, the eyes open and the string rises, shooting up to the higher self and then coming back down, so that it has that objective perspective to guiding what the body does. But also, this is how we create speed. By allowing the strings, but also because we're on strings, when we go like this, I'm gonna need a better camera feed. You can't really see my feet, but it's the whole body makes each one of these motions. Anyways, getting a little ahead of myself. Like I said, this is the first time that we're doing this. We want to talk about the belly fire and how to connect it, but we want to also work a lot on this eye part, on the seeing past your eyes. I've been doing a lot of videos on that lately already. If there are any questions that people have about that, this would be a great time to ask those. At the moment, really the only questions we seem to be getting are about the goddess Lilith. This is the first time we've done this. Not a lot of people are had a chance to find it, I suppose. We have certainly had a lot of well, I'm assuming those were bots. But yeah, this is how it works. And we're going to get back to talking a little bit more about the eye thing, seeing past your eyes or seeing with your eyes open. Okay, in the last video, we talked about using this to reach into a picture. Now, in the next video, we're going to get all the way back to glass hand. Glass hand is where you're entering the space between your hands. And that leads to simply seeing past your eyes in the full part that we just talked about a moment ago. And the advantage to this, why this isn't the Sorcery Self-Defense playlist, why we're not just lighting belly fire and then shooting straight up to our full self, is that we need to see full aspect, not just of what is occurring, but what is milliseconds ahead. Yeah, this is that entering the weird that we would want to be doing during any of these self-defense emergency moments. There needs to be that calm, that making things slow down so that you're moving a little bit faster than the reality around you. That is part of what we are looking for here. This is part of what we are trying to create. The gnosis of self-defense and keeping oneself in control during what should be panic situations. So I know I'm using the word frenzy gnosis for a lot of this, but it's beyond that. Yeah, this is a controlling frenzy. This is actually this is actually a way to keep oneself from panicking during an emergency situation. Now, we're going to get more into that in future videos. This has already been 16 minutes long. I'm not sure how much longer we're actually going to go with this. Did want to test it for a while. Apparently, we're just going to get a whole lot of these bots. I got to figure out how to keep them blocked better. There's got to be a way. Got a moderator. That's a good thing. What is this goal thing? We'll find out about that later. Anyways, so we're going to be doing this every almost every Saturday from now on. It's going to be a Q&A. Sometimes we'll talk about sorcery, self-defense, talk about other things. Most likely we're going to focus on whatever we've been talking about during the week. So if anyone has any questions about what has happened, this will be a way to... Oh, absolutely, a Romstead. Yes, today will be the day that you are going to be getting your reading and stick breaking. We'll get to that in just a moment here. I just want to finish up with this part. Now, on this particular live, we will be doing this part with everybody. After this episode, when we switch to the readings and stick breakings that come with membership on the channel, we are going to be switching to members only, to provide a layer of privacy to those that are getting their stick breakings and readings. So this time we will be live. This time we're going to do it the full thing so you can get an idea of what happens. But after that, if you want to see this part that's coming next, you will need to get at least a 99-cent membership. Okay, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, we do have a member that wants to get their... Oh, why did I move that? Hold on a second. Let me... Okay. Come back over to here. Yeah, exactly. Especially with all the bots and trolls. We don't need those being into the reading. So, in this particular one, as long as you're still okay with that, we are going to do the reading with it live. The trolls, I think they are literally, bots. There's not even something really observing there. But I do want you to say that's okay before I actually start. And since there's a bit of a delay between me saying something and you hearing it, I'm going to give you a moment there. And oh, I didn't see Felix mention that. Let me see. Oh, that is a great idea, Felix. The .com sigil. I do have an episode on that. It's also covered. Oh, Cult 5. I didn't say you were about. It was all the people. There's a bunch of people asking for me to help them punish Lilith. I ought a bot. I'm Autobot. Yeah. Okay. Well, whoever you are, I'm not going to be punishing you with Lilith. You seem to be just switching accounts and saying the same thing over and over again is what's going on here. I don't work with Lilith. I am that's a Christian-based mythology, and I don't really work with any Christian-based mythologies. So if you really want that, you're definitely talking with the wrong person. I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with the idea that Lilith is a Christian-based mythology, but that's where the idea comes from. Now, she's Adam's first wife. There's no saying that didn't in some way originate with the within that monotheistic paradigm. And that's not a paradigm I subscribe to or work with. So if you're going to keep coming in here and posting that, you're really wasting your time because you're not in the right place for that. Go find a Satanist or something that is interested in helping you. Though I hate to send you off to them because I think you're a troll. Anyways, so we are going to go ahead and do Rome Stone Rogues readings. They did say that was okay. Oh, the .com sigil. We got totally distracted. The .com sigil. I do have a video on that. In fact, we'll go ahead and get a link to that real quick. Might as well. .com. Okay. Here it is. Let me get a link to that. I'll put it in the chat here if anyone wants to watch it. Okay, so what the .com sigil is it is a protective sigil designed to filter anything that comes from an internet source and put that link under your control. Just like with the last episode I did, we talked about entering a picture. This would prevent that sort of thing from being outside of your will, of someone taking a picture off the internet and trying to contact you through that picture. Anything from an internet source is going to go through the .com sigil. It's a very basic concept. I essentially used all the letters associated with going to an internet address and pulled them into a sigil so that anything that tries to make a connection through that would have to go through that link. And this way you can control anything that is sent to you through an internet source. It doesn't necessarily prevent everything, but it does prevent you from being out of control of that. So anything that goes through that way will be through your will. Now, if you wanted to do that, do a .com sigil and then use it to totally block anything from an internet link, you could use it for that as well. But like I said, I left a video to it there. It is a very useful tool. And if you're going to be doing a lot of stuff on the internet, I actually do very strongly suggest that you use the .com sigil. How you do it is you use the .com sigil itself, and then you attach it to your own personal sigil. So it's the .com and then your personal sigil. It's a very simple sigil. It's just a circle with a dot in the center. Okay. So I think that we're going to go ahead and get to the stick breaking at this point. So there is a bit of a delay for Romstead for them to reply, or for them to hear what I'm saying. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there and be ready for them. We're going to go ahead and share this window so that you can see what, well, actually, we won't need this part for the reading. We won't need that for the reading. Will you put the sigil on this domain? This is a very good idea. This is a very good idea. And in fact, find what I'm looking for. Part of being a chaos mage is you're supposed to be disorganized, right? I don't know if that's really true. Probably not. It's hard to argue for that magically, really. But it just comes with it's part of the job description. What am I doing? There we are. And from now on, with the thumbnail that comes with the episode, I will do a .com sigil on the episode for the episode. Like there's a thumbnail that comes up, and I will do it there. At any rate, we're going to go ahead and share the screen so that you can see what I'm doing here. There's the stick for their stick breaking. But the .com sigil is literally just a circle with a dot. And then I'm going to help. Oh, hold on. Let me get over here so I can see what I'm doing a little better. And then to send the sigil, we're going to go ahead and tear it. And okay. And that was a little bit different than the normal .com sigil because also with the one in the thumbnail, it'll be under my control rather than the will of, and you'd have to make one yourself on your end for it to be only under your will that the link made. But I can keep it under my will by putting it on the thumbnail and making sure that there is no problems. That it my tongue's feeling a little stuck. Make sure that nothing malignant is sent through the link that created by the reading from anybody in the chat or anything like that. I will keep that maintained each time from this point forward. Okay, so Romstead Rogue, you have a stick breaking you would like to cash in. As soon as you tell me what that is for, we'll go ahead and do that. Yes, and I need to know what the stick breaking is for. Yes, you can do all three of your stick breakings today if you want. That's perfectly fine. Okay. 3 stick breakings. Yes, I am aware that Romestead Rogue is not a Romestead Rogues is not a single entity, but a community. And yes, all of your stick breakings and readings will be done with this in mind, which is an interesting aspect actually, because the first times I've done a paid reading for an entire community, and possibly the first time I've ever done a stick breaking for a full community. There's no reason, however, that would be problematic in any way. Just something just a little bit new for me. Okay. Right. Okay. So I know there is a bit of a delay, so we're just waiting for Romestead Rogues to catch up with us here. Go back to this for a moment till we're ready. Okay, for those of you who aren't familiar with stick breakings, I do have an episode on that as well. I've actually covered it a few times now, but a stick breaking is a way of actually breaking a line of fate as if it were a stick. I have a better episode about it here somewhere. Let's see. Okay, we'll go into the playlist for it. Hello, Ricky. What is that you got there? A little squirrel thing? Smell? Oh, it's a whistle. Okay, what was I doing? Oh, we're going to go to the playlist. Be the easiest way to find it. Okay, so anyways, as I was saying, a stick breaking is a way of breaking lines of fate. This is often used to prevent spell work that has been casted against you, things of that nature. This is really... here we are, Sorcerer Shadow Volume 2, videos. More water making a pot. Here we are. How to break a hex, jinx, or curse. That's the one we're looking for. Put that in the chat here. Okay. For the first stick breaking, there's a person who has recently departed the community who I know to have less than benevolent intentions about it, and when it's left some bitterness amongst the... Okay. I need to give... There's left some bitterness amongst the... Okay, so there's someone that has left the community and you want to keep them from coming back, perhaps. Or simply to break all of their less than benevolent intentions. Is that correct? Now, when we're doing a stick breaking, it is fairly important to have consistent sticks so that you can have some idea of how well the stick breaking worked, but it's not absolutely necessary. You can grab any stick off of the ground and break it, as long as it's easily broken. You don't want to accidentally grab like a massive log, make it represent a line of fate, and then try to break it and not be able to break it. This can have some purpose, though, if it is something that you feel you need to put a lot of effort into breaking. Picking a larger and larger stick to be harder and harder to break can help that be accomplished. Now, stick breakings, of course, there are ways to get around a stick breaking when you're going back and forth in like a actual witches' war or something like that. But for the most part, this is a great way to break lines of fate and prevent things from happening. Just waiting for a little more clarity before we go ahead and begin. Yes, it is quite the delay. We're going to have to figure out what to do about that. Okay, like I said, these stick breaking is a very powerful tool. The other thing that is possible with the level of membership that the Rumstead Rogue is at, that is the I believe the $9.99 a month subscription. It comes with 3 stick breakings or a rune reading. I slipped up. It comes with there's a reading available as well, because the membership they're actually at the one above that. But it's the 3 stick breakings or a cord cutting. A cord cutting can also be achieved um, online at a distance. In fact, I've done a lot of work with that. And cord cuttings are extremely useful for anyone who is in the magical trade themselves, anyone who has clients on a regular basis. Each time you do a reading for someone, each time you do a Reiki session for somebody, each time you do whatever it is you do, spell work for the person, anytime you're working energetically with someone else, you're creating a cord. You're creating a link to them. And you can consciously sever each one of these when you are done. But even if you're doing all that, it's a good idea every few months at least to have someone else do a cord cutting for you to get anything you've missed. Because we want to keep that astral hygiene up. Each one of these links attached to us that no longer serve us have a they have a cumulative effect on our actual astral form. And so with that in mind, it is best to get a cord cutting once in a while so that we can keep a well-maintained astral form. Because problems with our astral form is how astral parasites get in. It's how negative curse work can get into us, or things like jinxes that are just bad lines of fate that have worked their way in and got kind of well, it's like a free radical. It's like a free radical with health. You know, you got these oxidants to get the free radicals out of your system that mess with the way things form. It's the same with well, that is odd. You've typed it 3 times and it's not going through. Weird. You managed to get that to come through, though. Yes, exactly. Okay. Excellent. Go ahead and try again. Yes. His influence. Yes, this makes sense. Okay. Now, what we do to do this, of course, first you have to connect. Yes, it does. It is weird that you had to type it 1 letter at a time to be able to get that particular thing out. We may need to discuss that privately in further detail, because that is a bit odd. And since I know the person that you were talking about, I am able to connect to this very well. Okay. Just because I feel like I was a bit distracted, we're going to call that one a practice. Paying more attention to the video than to what I was actually doing. So we're gonna do that one more time. Okay, going to break the line of fate that allows them to have any influence magically, socially, or in any other way to the community, to the Romestead community. There, that was a much more satisfying break. Okay, you said you wanted to do all 3 of them today. So you have two more breakings, and then we will also do your reading as well. You will have a choice between a tarot reading or a rune reading for that. You're very welcome, Romstead. Okay, so like I said, you have two more. While they're preparing the next question, or the next stick breaking, what else it is that they desire to have broken. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about how that works. Oh, actually, that is a great idea. That is a great idea. We'll do the reading and then see if there's anything in there that needs to be broken. Excellent suggestion. So, we have the actual Elder Futhark runes that are available, which I apparently have closed poorly the last time I closed them. Hi, Kira. So we have the actual runes, Elder Futhark, and here we have Wild Unknown Tarot that we can use, or the one I suspect you're going to want to go with, and that is my personal rune / charm bag. This one is the Elder Futhark. It is just the Elder Futhark. This one is runes and charms and, well, lots of different things with symbolic meaning that have been added to the bag over the years of my travels, divination, and other workings for the sigils that I have learned work. All right. And are you going to want the Elder Futhark or my bag? Okay. Most excellent. So we'll go ahead and go back to being able to see that. Let me get back over here because it immediately takes me into the other thing. Okay. So for the reading, we'll be getting a New Year rune reading for the potential, direction, and possible obstacles you may need to be aware of for the next solar cycle. This is a great time to start that because we just finished the solar cycle a little while ago. And essentially, this is a year reading. A lot of times I will do this with tarot cards, where I do a 12 card spread with 2 more cards in the center. But this should work out well as well. As you can see, we have my we're going to be using my rune board here. I'm realizing it's upside down to me, so we're going to fix that. Okay, so now we will be doing the reading. I'm actually going to go ahead and get a little more comfortable here. I'll need to make sure I'm well connected. Okay. Sorry. All right. Quite a bit going on there, which makes sense for a full year reading. Let's see what we've got here. We're starting over on this side. Now, there are some bags, or excuse me, there are some charms in here that if they're upside down, they're ignored. There are others that even if they show up at all, they are to be paid attention to. And this reading starts with one of those. And it's interesting that we just did a stick breaking on influence, because the very first thing that we find is the Nazir, or evil eye, but it's turned upside down. Now, when we wear a Nazir, it is to guard against the evil eye. But when it shows up in a reading, it is talking about the evil eye. And boom, upside down. So that's a good thing. There is negative influence to the house that is passing away, has been turned upside down. Next to that, we have the heart charm. It's turned upside down as well. And above that, we have journey. Okay, so now we're going to start considering the chart itself. We have journey on paradigm shift with this little half a sigil that represents the questioner themselves. It's a half of a piece, but it's originally my personal sigil. So when I'm doing a reading for myself, it represents me. When I'm doing a reading for someone else, that represents the questioner, the person, or in this place, the community being asked about. So there is a journey to a paradigm shift for the community at large. I know that you have a new roommate as well as losing the old one. So that in and of itself is a bit of a paradigm shift, but this seems like it's more than that. There is a paradigm shift, a journey towards a paradigm shift. Now we've got the green stone before that. The green stone is often is one I use associated with money. Oh, at the center, we've got a, we've got not this. We're going to come back to that. But it's in the very center here. So, okay. So up above, we have Fehu in the nothing position. It is upside down. We have journey of the individual and transformation in relationships. And it's got a lady there with her hands over here. So some of that's not so great. But we're going to come back. Okay. Out here on the outer edge, once you come through the year, there is victory. Yes, okay, that one's good. It's victory. And then we've got several crowns, one upside down and one upside right, that are with some other things here. And it's that in and of itself is positive. The crown, as in the Romestead, finding its crowning achievement. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning here, run through the whole thing now that I've kind of laid it out some. Influence removed. Negative influence, there's been negative influences has been removed. Now there is a journey to a paradigm shift for the house itself that there is going to be some sting to. We got the little stingray here, and he's right next to not these. It's the rune of constraint and pain. On the other side, though, of it, we have the Akum. Yes, that's how it wound up. With not this and Akum. So there is going to be some sting at the center of the whole thing. That's not great. And transformation. transformation that involves someone not wanting to hear what the new thing is. So this is all thing. There is going to be some resistance coming through this next year. A bit of some sting. What is this one here? Oh, that's Uras. Uras and social relationships. That's strength. Strength in social relationships that are holding all this together. So the transformation. Oh, transformation of people not wanting to listen, leading to a victory of the crown of the Romestead. Now, this isn't some person getting into authority, but rather the crowning achievements, the Romestead becoming the community that it was intended to be. And of course, there's going to be some work need to be done to make that happen, because we need to know more about this. Let me see what else we see here. So it's not the old evil eye that was taken out, but it feels very foundational. Could be related to that because there's been some issues with that particular roommate in the past and the larger community in the area. But anyways, we're not going to get into that on here, obviously. Yeah, this is showing that there is going to be a sting at the center that leads to a transformation and eventually victory over the coming year. So coming out of the year, everything's going to be good. But there is going to be some restraint in the meantime. Yeah, I do think there are some things here that have some stick breakings done on. This is one of them ones where I would often like to do a second reading, because it's not giving me the full answer as to what that is there in the center. Yes, the transformation is there's this person holding their hand over their ears like they don't want, like they are trying not to hear what has to be said, what is said, but that will be transformed. Yes, I think we can go ahead and do a, yes, we can definitely do a clarification reading. We'll go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, it's, not exactly a foggy answer so much as an incomplete answer, because it doesn't fully explain what that sting is. But we can go directly to that, and we're going to go ahead and ask a clarifying question. And that is what the clarifying question is going to be, unless you have any objection, is what will be causing this sting at the center? And then maybe we can do some stick breakings on that. Because that is the beautiful part about divination. Yeah? It isn't, even if you're casting stones, it is not, the answers are not set in stone. They are a calibration of where things are headed. And by using mechanical or magical means, we can change what will come up and what our future, what is in store for us in the future. I would like a reading on the nature of the sting obstacle and how to overcome it. How much is a clarification reading? Okay. Well, normally when I charge for such a reading, it is you get it at a lower price. You get that first one absolutely free because of your membership tier level. But a clarification question at this point, since I've already got the bag out and everything going and you are a member, will be just $10. you can send that to my Gmail. We'll go ahead and take care of it after the stream. Or you can do that with my PayPal or my I forget the name of it, Cash App. There and a few other means. Like I said, me and you will go ahead and work that out after the stream, since we are in regular communication. Okay, so the nature of the sting and how to overcome it. Interesting that evil eye would show up upside down again. Well, okay, so it's divided into 2 bits here. Huh. Okay, so this first bit here, this is how to overcome the sting. And this bit over here is a bit more about what it is. So let me look over this a minute, make sure I fully understand what is being said. Get this white stone over here by itself, but it's upside down and away from everything. It's not part of the reading. We have the luxury stone, which is an interesting bit. We have this is actually a Rovasari rune from Roma origin, and I use it to denote shelter. I honestly don't read the Rovasari. I just happen to know enough of a significant amount of what the runes look like and what they speak to for me. So we got a rune for shelter. We've got the little boat there for a journey of joy. Now this is all taking place in paradigm shift. Need to find the joy and allow that to grow and be defended against the unknown. So this first bit, oh, you know what? The shelter room. We need to acknowledge that it is in completion. It is in the chart of it is in the house of completion, but then there's the journey of paradigm shift and joy that leads to growth and defense. Defense of the unknown for the individual. So, big part of what it's saying is the way to defeat that sting is to allow more joy into the household. And there may be even a bit of a vacation at some point in order there, with the little journey being right next to the shelter. Even a bit of a going on a joy trip that lead to growth and protection from the nothing. Now, we'll probably come back to that again in a moment, but let's see what we got over here. It did immediately, like I said, I mentioned that flapped over. I'm stuttering. Give me just a moment. My tongue is twisting up on itself. I used to stutter quite a bit before I got my tongue ring. In fact, maybe at some point we'll talk about that and the spell work and physical additions I had to help myself speak more properly. But, okay, stuttering thing over, hopefully. Okay, so the sting itself is in the area. Oh, yep. Makes sense. We've got the Flintstone and the little heart deal here, which is, if it's upside down, is joy, or it's upside right is joy, but at this point, upside down like that, it appears to be a heart. And it's in larger social interactions, the bridge. And it is a influence directed from the same person that was giving you the evil eye influence in the first place. That has created some way a target, and people don't want to listen, and this blocks openings for the home, for the household. So I am now seeing what exactly this is talking about. There is a larger community problem that came in from you guys trusting and giving this particular roommate a chance, and that is the center of this sting. This is something that we need to journey out of the house. You need to journey out of the house and join. Oh, because that isn't joy. Wait a minute. Is that joy? Yes, it's still joy. For a minute there, I thought it was a different rune. Anyways, it's saying essentially that the best way out of this situation and to remove that sting and restraint that is in the larger community is to get back out into the community and show people and have some fun and joy coming from the Roamstead, so that people remember what the Roamstead is and stop trying to not listen to what is being, with the Roamstead, not really the example at the Roamstead shows to the community at large. Okay, so with the clarification, I feel like that became a lot clearer. If you have any other questions about this spread, you can ask them. And if you have any other stick breakings that you want to do, we can start those from here. Yes. Exactly it. The houses, the community's reputation took a hit by bringing him in, and then you haven't been out and about much since then. And so that restraint is still there, and it needs to be washed away. People need to be reminded just how awesome the Roamstead is, how much fun it is to come visit the Roamstead. And that's how we wash away that sting. Otherwise, it'll take all year. All right. Larger community stick breaking against larger community manipulation from him against the Roamstead. And I would suggest the third one, if you will allow me to suggest, be that we do a stick breaking on his influence towards the Roamstead that's already out there. Because we did a stick breaking for his influence on the Roamstead and the housemates. But it might be to do one as well on his influence of the community towards the Roamstead, or the damage to the reputation. We'll break that here, and then you can start going out into the community and rebuilding it. But we should go ahead and break that momentum while we're at it as well. So I'm going to wait till I hear back from you to make sure you have no objections to my suggestions. And if not, we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so that's what you meant. But I do think we should probably do both of those. Here, we don't need to do that anymore. Come up here. Okay, I do think we should do both of those in that we will do the one to prevent that momentum that's going forward, but the other could be one that we could do as well in case he's still trying to create community influence the way the community sees the Romestead, either in the idea of, oh, well, those guys are jerks, they kicked me out, even though he wasn't exactly kicked out. Anyways, or that he might be going around trying to convince people that, well, you know, we were okay with this or that in some way, just affecting our reputation in some other way by the Romestead's reputation in some other way. So let's at least do that first one. One to break the momentum from the break the influence of momentum from the decision that was already made. So this is the momentum from some people in the community being upset that he was allowed into the house, breaking whatever's left of that, whatever momentum and residual distrust that is there because he was allowed to stay at the home would be this one. And then this one would be any continuing influence that he might be having on the way the community views the Romestead. If that makes sense to you. Okay, I just want to make sure that you agree to that before we begin. So we're going to have to wait for the delay. That tune that I keep whistling, you will eventually hear that in one of my shorts. Once I get it right on the flute, that is actually... Oh, okay, yes. Well, anyways, that is actually my theme song that I'm working on. It is something that I actually recall from the past life, from the last time I was Sorcerer Tao. Something I would play on the violin. I'm trying to transfer it into something I know how to play now, because the knowledge of how to play the violin does not seem to have transferred. But the tune and the lyrics, well, I seem to be able to do that part. Anyways, so yes, let's do it that way. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to go ahead and need to end the live after that because this has gotten a little bit longer than I expected, and I have some things I need to take care of. Okay, so this first stick breaking is the momentum of any harm to the reputation of the household, any lingering resentment or distrust that comes from allowing that person into the house. We're pulling that into the stick, drawing it in, and then we're breaking it. I've mentioned in previous episodes about stick breaking how the way the stick breaks, there's some influence there. That was a bit hard to break. There wasn't anything left afterwards, so it did break, but it is interesting how difficult that stick was to break. Okay, and then we're going to do the second one, and I've got to go. Sorry to cut it off so briefly, but I'm actually in a bit of a hurry at this point. So, all right, this is the second one. This is for any continuing influence. Anything else he might be doing towards the household at this point, from influencing the community towards the homestead. Okay, that one broke much smoother. And we're going to go ahead and call it there. Until next time, bright blessings and an interesting fate. This has been Sorcerer Tal.